back on the podcast with Mr. Matt Traverso, who is a transformative coach with over 25 years experience. Matt works with CEOs, athletes, entrepreneurs, and everyday people who want to get more out of themselves and their lives. Matt mentors coaches at all stages of their careers, from beginner coaches to seasoned professionals, including you right there in the audience listening and watching. And we're going to discuss Matt's very excellent book called Unlock Your Potential, Own Your Power, Master Your Emotions, and Live Your Best Life Today. And all three of those things sound very wonderful. So we'll find out how that is possible. So Matt, how the heck are you?
Hi, Robert. I'm very well. Thank you.
Great to hear it. And so we introduced you a little bit, gave your bio, but in your own words, what are you passionate about? What is your focus?
Well, my focus is helping people navigate life storms more easily, essentially, by adopting, developing a more robust psychology. One that allows you to turn any challenging situation into a useful, beneficial experience.
Wonderful. And I already like the metaphor of the life storms, because you think when a storm comes, it's only temporary, and you can seek shelter and you can play in the rain and you can collect rainwater. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, and it's not permanent. It's not forever. And so where are people stuck? You say that people have problems and like there's the weight of the world on them, and there's always stress, anxiety, not living up to our potential. Like, where do you see the hurt happening in the world?
Inside. When we see in the world, that is that's the wrong expression. That's the wrong way of describing things. Stress in the world, but it's not out there. It is always in here, and the beauty is that we have all the resources and everything that we need to avoid feeling stuck or stressed out, or even or just removing ourselves from such a state should we find ourselves there. If we just remind ourselves that it's just an illusion we are caught in, which makes us believe that the situation, the environment, those people, the circumstances are causing our stress. Not true. It cannot be true. It cannot be true, because we cannot even experience the world directly. It's always through the middleman, the intermediary, the filter, which is our thinking, that is what separates us from everything else. And since the only thing that can make us feel whatever we feel is our thinking, then we are definitely in charge of our emotional destiny, our emotions. We are the creators of our emotions. And number one, when we realize that, and number two, when we become expert at managing our emotions, I don't know of anything more important than that to live a happy life. Because ultimately, people's problems, you know what they are, Robert? At the end of the day, emotional problems, period. I know it sounds like a provocation, may sound very provocative, and it may be too simplistic, and it may be almost insulting, and it may be, but it's true.
And maybe people do need to hear this, right? Maybe they do need to be slightly insulted in order to be woken up. And you know, when I first started hearing things like this about how important the emotional control is, and how I have the power to be angry or the power to be insulted, I was a little upset about this news, right? And it's like you think about how you don't see your own nose in front of your face, right? What you see is the combined vision of both your eyes. So there's this layer between what is out there and what is in here, and we can sort of have this control over our perspective and our relationships, and it's a little freeing, but it's also a little scary, right? Because it means that if I'm unhappy, miserable, unfulfilled, then now it's my fault. Now I need to take responsibility, and that can hurt a little bit. And so tell us about yourself. Like, what have you experienced, and what kinds of lack of emotional control have you gone through? What kind of stress has held you back?
Well, yeah, well, it's- two things while you were talking. First, it's not really self-control or controlling your emotions because you can't and you don't want to. It's emotional mastery. It is dancing with them. It is listening to their wisdom, flowing with them, and learning that they're always and understand, realizing, reminding ourselves that they're always the symptom of a thought, the effect of a thought. And that's great news, because once we actually realize and recognize that for what it is, which is pure thought, which is 100% neutral, then they lose the hold that they have on us. They are not affecting us, at least not as deeply, but very often we just let them fade and dissipate and disappear and dissolve. And as far as and then the other point that you raised about the question you were asking, the stress is, well, I mean, that's the reason why I wrote the book Unlock Your Potential, to really find out. It was originally for selfish reasons, meaning that it was to really see if there's really something in the self-help world, in the self-improvement, personal development, personal growth, all these life tools, and coaching, and life coaching, and NLP. And actually, I learned all these tools, all of them. And I found that they are very useful, very, very useful. And so to know that, and when you said that, okay, that's the thing that I was trying to remember, that what you mentioned, that you were saying, oh, it's kind of like maybe you feel like it's your fault when you're feeling crappy, for example. Well, what I actually say to people is that it's never your fault, but it's always your responsibility. You're always responsible. You're always responsible. And yes, if you enjoy feeling frustrated or angry at times, well, then be my guest. But at least you're aware that you're causing, you're making it, you're creating it. But usually you will find that when you realize that you are the creator of your emotions, you are always responsible. It's not your fault, because I say that it's not your fault because that it's like beating yourself up, and therefore being using it as an excuse, as a justification. Oh well, as playing the role of the victim. When you say it's all my fault, it's a nice excuse for not doing the things that you really need to do to move yourself forward, to move yourself to the next level, to do the things that you really want to do to achieve your goals, your aspirations, your dreams. And it's and it's not nothing original or special to not utilize your full potential. It's like, what else is new? It's not. It's what's strange, what's amazing. It's not that people are not utilizing their full potential is when they are. I mean, it's not when people feel crappy. That's like average. It's when people feel great consistently and have a way of shifting things around. That's what's exciting. And of course, it's not necessarily easy, even though it becomes easy, but not initially, because initially you have to break through the old habits, the old patterns. But once you've carved a new way of being, a new way of feeling, new habits, then what's easier than your new habit? Because what is the easiest thing for humans to do? What they're used to doing, what they've always done consistently, running their habit, running our habit, it becomes the easiest thing. So and therefore, the moments of stress become very brief, and the moments of joy, of peace, of happiness, they expand and they rise in terms of quality. And sure, there will always be, those moments of frustration, because we're humans. If you have a pulse, then you will always have these moments. But it's going to be like for a few seconds versus hours or days or weeks or years for some people. I mean, so they really, this book, I've actually condensed, synthesized, distilled the best of what I've learned in over 30 years being a maniac on finding out the most powerful tools, secrets, approaches, ways of dealing with situations that can make us feel grounded, centered, present, and really connected with our nature, with our true self. I think that's also very important, especially in the field of personal development, that very often you learn skills or techniques or strategies that do not honor who we are, who you are, who the person really is. And I think this is a huge part of living a successful life, being true to ourselves.
Wonderful. Well, you have some amazing ideas here, and so I'm still processing all of it. And so you're saying these things like, well, we can't control our emotions, but we can manage our emotions. We can dance with our emotions, and we can use them as our advisors in pursuit of this goal of saying, well, I want to minimize the negativity. Of course, I won't get it down to zero, but I'll kind of reduce that period of time of stress and anger and all those things, and then lengthen and enlarge my happiness and joy and all that. And you're saying that habits are huge, right? That as human beings, we get locked into these cycles where we're just afraid to do anything different, or afraid to take a risk. And in order to get to where we want to go, we need to develop some of these new habits in pursuit of achieving our best self, our inner self. And that's a cool concept to think about, right? That the person that I am destined to become, who's confident, happy, fulfilled, skilled, is like the real me. And that can be tricky for some people, right? Because they say, like, I'm afraid of going down on this path, and it's not really who I am. So can you kind of tell us more about this idea of the inner self and the best self? And like, did you personally go on some kind of a journey to find your best self?
Well, actually, I went through a journey of becoming quote unquote perfect, and it didn't go very well. It didn't go very well because I was trying to be something else, someone else, and that's silly. That doesn't work. And happily, fortunately, I found that we really become what we are here to be, because that's the main thing. That's the purpose. That's the goal of goals, is to become what we are here to be. And it's not to become something. It's just to fulfill our uniqueness, so our authenticity, and our truest, most authentic self. And in fact, actually, because you raised a beautiful question, so I put it at the very beginning of the book as a dedication, which is I'm just paraphrasing in case I don't get it exactly perfectly the way it is, but it's essentially this: dedicated to all those people who want to get most out of their lives while becoming more of who they are, more of themselves. Becoming more of who we are, it's a process, it's a personal development journey, absolutely, but it's really developing ourselves, becoming the more utilizing and employing our inner resources to the fullest, becoming who we really are. In fact, there was a quote by Nietzsche. He said, "Become who you are." Kind of, like the same. It's kind of like the same idea, but maybe clearer to understand when you actually understand, when you realize that you have a ton of potential. And of course, we will never achieve 100% of our potential, even though that's the direction. But the more, the better. And therefore, it's like our job is to become more of who we really are. I hope these phrases can kind of help understand more about the process of not changing ourselves. The word change is like deny who we are and who we've been. We don't want to do that, because otherwise that creates a separation. We really want to feel great about ourselves. In fact, one key message of my work as a coach and in the book is falling in love with yourself, truly loving yourself, and not love yourself because, it's a nice idea. No, because you finally have adopted. It's not just, the trick to adopt the mindset. No, you really appreciate the love you have for yourself. Like, there is nobody more important in the world. And it's not like with a big ego. No, it's like, hey, love thy neighbor like thyself. It's like, you cannot make anybody feel special if you don't know what really taking care of ourselves is really like. It's like, it's all a reflection, a projection, who we are. We see who we are in the universe. The universe will always reflect ourselves. The universe is a big reflection of who we are, and people treat us the way we treat ourselves. And if we don't treat ourselves with love and respect, we shouldn't be surprised if the universe is not treating us with love and respect. There's a great quote. It's really can sound a bit mean, by Ralph Waldo Emerson, but very powerful, and says so much. Here's the quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. He says, "Who you are speaks so loudly that I can't even hear what you're talking about." So, in other words, your body language, your posture, your physiology, your eye contact, your facial expressions, your energy, your vibration, your presence, I feel it. And that tells me everything. I don't even need to listen to you. I don't have to, because you convey everything. So the beauty is that there's a great quote by Sam Francis d'Assisi that says what you are looking for is you. And I've seen this shift of loving oneself as being the most significant, the most powerful in the level of joy and happiness people have in their lives. And of course, once you really love yourself, then you become connected, integrated, aligned, united. Now you're a team. Now you stop fighting against yourself. Now the inner civil war stops. Now you're not wasting time fighting inner monsters, dragons that don't even exist. And you actually people waste the vast majority of their energy fighting these ghosts inside. And then when they really need the energy to do stuff in the world, they're drained, they're exhausted, and they often, sometimes I smile to be more impactful in what I say and more memorable, but it's tragic because it's like this inner fight, this self-harming process, this self-sabotage pattern, which is diabolic, which is very destructive. So once you finally love yourself, all those patterns just drop. I don't need to NLP them. I don't need to tap them, the emotional freedom technique. All those techniques just drop away when we have a new attitude of genuine caring and genuine love for ourselves, really loving ourselves. So we don't waste time like all those behaviors that are, wasting so much of our time. And we just do the stuff that we honestly feel and believe are most important for our happiness and our success as well. If we enjoy that, if we want that, it's not necessary, because I'm sure that most people, if they were presented with the choice of a success and happiness, they would go for happiness if they really think about it, of course. But guess what? The happier you are, the easier it is to be successful as well. For sure. And even, and people want to do business with happy people or sad people. The answer is obvious. Of course.
Yeah. Wonderful. And we should all aspire to this, right? We need to amp up our game as far as the self-love, the greater self-esteem. That way, for nothing else than this whole reflection idea, right? Because that way, when we're happier, when we're better, then what we see out there in the world is better, and the people that we are around and that we help are better as well. And we need to stop this self-sabotage, because we're just making life way more difficult on ourselves than it has to be. And so you have this excellent book that can help us get there. And I want to make sure that we spend a few minutes at the end here to talk about what's inside the book, because you have some amazing ideas. And it's my understanding that you have a few exercises as well. So do you have perhaps a favorite exercise to help us accomplish some of these goals within your Unlock Your Potential book?
Well, yes, at this stage in my life, even though, there are lots of tools that help you clarify what makes you click, what drives you, what juices you, what turns you on, what excites you, what you're passionate about, and also great exercises that allow you to eliminate limiting beliefs. That's all great. But my favorite exercise is one that, that I call, that's been referred to as personal manifesto. So it's a series of statements, and it's you don't do it in a few minutes. It takes even a month at least, several weeks of thinking about who you really are. Who are you here to be in this planet? Like who do you know in your heart of hearts is this person that you call, your name, John, Mike, Matt, Robert. Who's this person? Who, and beyond your name, your soul. your essence, your silent witness, your spirit, your inner presence, your energy, and you know who you are when you refer to yourself. And therefore you want to actually cultivate a beautiful relationship, have all sorts of appointments, meetings with yourself. Not that you necessarily have to write them down in your planner, even though it's not a bad idea. I don't do it because to me it's I gotta come first to make my clients, the people I care about, my family, feel first, like they come before everything else. The people that I care about, that I really love. But of course, I have to. It's like in an airplane, in case of an emergency. What do you do with the oxygen mask? You put it on the mouth of your children, on yours. You might say, well, that's not very selfless, altruistic. Well, if you're not taking care of yourself, don't kid yourself. You cannot take care of anybody. And so this is the exercise. It's the personal manifesto, writing statements after pondering and meditating who you are, who you really are, and who you intend to be, that you are here to be. Like it's like observing, keeping the promise to yourself, to the universe, who sent you here. You got this incredible chance to incarnate. Now, what are you going to do with this? Like, to use Einstein's language, to this incredible miracle of all miracles. How are you going to cherish this incredible gift? And so by being your authentic self, like Shakespeare says, this above all, to thine own self be true. So just honor yourself. Whatever you feel in your heart, honor it. Whatever is your heart's desire, do it. It might take, I don't know, however long it takes, it's time well spent. Because time is going to go by anyway. You might as well do what you love to do.
So agreed 100%. Yes.
Cool.
And you're bringing up something where I got a little bit scared maybe when I was a teenager, and I, when the elder people in my family died, right? Say like, dad dies, grandparent dies, and older people sometimes die without having figured this out. And I realized like, oh wow, there's no guarantee, and we might run out of time before figuring some of these things out. And so time is of the essence, right? And we need people like you to give us the message and give it to us simplified, because as you've said, there's NLP, there's EFT, there's mindfulness meditations, there's affirmations, there's all these techniques, and they're all great, but there's this danger in the information overload and studying a little bit of each thing and maybe not practicing them. And so this is why we definitely need a guide such as yours to make it simple for us, to make it actionable, doable, step by step. And this book is called Unlock Your Potential, Own Your Power, Master Your Emotions, and Live Your Best Life Today. So that way we don't have to settle for this life of struggle, stress, and frustration. And so tell us about some next steps here, Matt. How can we find out about the book as well as more about you?
Well, when you were mentioning all those tools before, telling you about the book and about myself, very quickly, when you were mentioning about, EFT, NLP, mindfulness, affirmations, and so many other tools, I think that what differentiates my approach, my style from all these, to some degree, wonderful tools, and I say to some degree because these are kind of old. And sometimes, like NLP, I'm a master trainer of NLP, but hey, it was founded, it was created in the 1970s. It's still a great set of tools, and I believe that the next phase is something with more soul. And that's why in the fourth chapter, when I talk about values, I also talk about connecting, which is something that it's a theme that runs throughout the book, connecting to your inner wisdom, your inner guidance, your connecting to your true nature, your true self, this innate and ancient part of our being, which is our essence. And we can call it insight. We can call it intuition. That's a nice, simple term that everybody understands. Intuition, and that comes from this gut feeling, something that we know without knowing how we know. It's not intellectual. It comes from the heart. Yeah, that's another great criterion to know how to navigate life. Follow your heart, but not like in the silly way. It's like listening to your inner wisdom, and we all have it, and we all know it, and we've all had experiences of listening to it, and sometimes violating, meaning not following, not listening, and not honoring this voice inside, this voice of wisdom, and we always regretted it. Have you? Can you relate to this experience? It's a universal experience.
Of course, yes.
Right. So that chapter finally brings it all together, giving the reader an experience of having an internal compass, a set of values aligned with their aligned to their heart and their intuition. So back to the book. The book is available pretty much everywhere on Amazon, but it's been recently published and it's been published on other platforms as well. But right now on Amazon, it's available in 3 formats: hardcover and paperback and Kindle and ebook Kindle. Yeah. And in next week, it will also be available in the audiobook will be available as well. I found the best narrator, Tom Parks, which I think he's phenomenal, and he's working on it right now. I'm very excited about it. And about the author, myself, I've been coaching people since the mid-90s. I've had fantastic coaches who coached me along the way, including Tony Robbins for many, many, many years, and many great coaches and enlightened people like Wayne Dyer has been one of my coaches. Jim Rohn, he was Tony Robbins' original coach and teacher and mentor. And so I coach entrepreneurs, business people, private clients, coaches at all levels, helping them fully integrate within themselves and stop trying to change emotions, to control emotions. I help them to not avoid emotions, because again, emotions is the big thing, and all the tools that you mentioned, NLP and EFT, they all work on shifting, changing emotions. And the paradox is this: once you are no longer afraid of emotions, surprise, you don't need to control it. Do you understand, Robert? We don't need to control what we are not afraid of. We don't need to control it. We don't care. And because we don't care because we're feeling good. Don't care, maybe it's too strong as an expression, but we're feeling great. We're enjoying the journey the minutes, like a great quote says, success is how well you enjoy the minutes. I like it so much, this beautiful quote. Success is how well you enjoy the minutes. Once you actually you become a master, an expert at enjoying the minutes, you don't, and all emotions, you see, the negative emotions, you see them for what they are. Nothing but transient, temporary thoughts. Once you see that they are nothing but thoughts, you can't be afraid of just a bunch of thoughts that are already dissolving and just passing and dissipating, going away. And some silly thoughts is as muck as anything. It's like so normal, so that people, they just pay attention. They don't take the negative emotions, they don't give them any importance anymore, because they see them as totally neutral and impotent, no power to affect us in any way. And that's why we actually finally we gain more and more confidence, and the fear, the insecurities just drop without using any special technique. Even though there are some techniques, because that just helps you develop the mindset that you finally will develop by the 4th chapter and 5th chapter. Then by the 4th chapter, you realize that, okay, I needed all these tools, all these strategies, all the techniques to finally just drop them without being addicted to the next technique, the next techniques, the next technique. I stopped using techniques with people. I just engage them with a very deep connection, presence, empathy, and I just feel and become and immerse myself in that experience, and then I can reflect and mirror what they're going through, and they see it in my eyes. We have these mirror neurons that we're like, gosh, if Matt is seeing things that way, which is a cool way, which is an easier way, and it helps me, it's a much simpler way to live life. If he can do it, I can do it. Mirror neurons, they do it as well. Within a few sessions, their life totally transforms. And it's a beauty. It's one of my greatest joys in life is to see people light up like a Christmas tree.
What else? Wonderful. Well, I love your passion and your empathy about this, and we definitely want to tap into some of this infectious energy you have, right? We need to reconfigure and get to that intuitiveness, so that way we don't have to rely on the techniques, but most importantly, be happy and fulfilled. So the book is called Unlock Your Potential, available on Amazon in Kindle, hardcover, paperback, soon to be audiobook format, written by the very excellent Mr. Matt Traverso. That last name is spelled Traverso. So check out the book, Unlock Your Potential. And then as far as just one final last step here, Matt, if someone wants to reach out to you personally and they say, hey, the book was great, I want to take some next steps, look into that coaching, do you have a website, a LinkedIn, contact details?
Absolutely, sure. My website is like you were actually, the spelling is spot on, perfect. So it's Matt Traverso, MattTraverso. So the domain has 3 T's, of course, .com. So my name,
very nice.
Surname.com.
All right, so that is the central hub, Matt Traverso, from Unlock Your Potential, Own Your Power, Master Your Emotions, and Live Your Best Life today. Matt, thank you for a wonderful conversation.
It was great. I really enjoyed talking with you today, Robert. Thanks.